Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. Hello, my beloved friends. Welcome once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to talk about our mind or the mind and share with you Joshua's perspective on our condition as humankind. And yes, we are both human and kind. So, right now, let's just say in the seventh major understanding, there's only one understanding. So, the one understanding was split into 7 parts by Joshua to simplify the teaching. It is all one understanding of human nature and human existence within our reality, and yet he split it into 7 parts. Now, the first part is our physical existence. In order for us to become a living human being, we had to learn to operate within the limits of time and space, with the coordinates of physical nature. And we had to accept and adopt the beliefs of our separation. That I'm separate from you and you're separate from me and I'm separate from the sofa I sit upon, etc. So we had to accept the illusion of separation so that we could live a physical existence on the earth plane. So we do that by choice. So I am body and the earth is body. I am also mind. And upon the earth, the element most closely reflecting mind is water. So, even though I am a physical body, it is mostly fluid inside the skin bag that I call myself. So, there's body of physical and body of water to exist in the earth plane. Now, Joshua equates mind to water and gives us a lot of metaphors for the existence of mind being much like water. For example, it will take the shape that you provide for it. So water takes the shape of the vessel it is in. Yes? If you put it in a very pretty vase, it takes the shape of the vase. And if you put water in a glass, it takes the shape of the glass, the cup, the vessel. Whatever vessel you put the water in, a swimming pool, it takes the shape of that. Water itself is shapeless, and so is your mind. There is no shape to the mind. It is fluid, just like water. And yet it will assume the shapes you force it into, and yet it will overflow and run around. The mind is fluid. Now, that becomes a challenge when we're teaching the mind to be still so that we can achieve an inner peace, so to speak. We train the mind to be still, and it is trainable, just like a puppy. You can teach it tricks. So, when your mind is fluid and flowing everywhere and running all about, and sometimes the mind becomes overwhelmed, too much to think about, too much information, too much to accomplish, then the mind starts to produce thoughts of anxiety, feelings of just overwhelm and unable to manage. So we take the local mind, which we are a part of, and focus it down into our singular focus, our singular mind. And we'd like to think that my mind is separate from your mind and so on. And that's also a part of the physical reality illusion. There's only one mind. As I have told you, there's only one being in existence. There is only one mind in existence. So that which is available to your mind is in the mass consciousness. Any thought that's ever been thought or will be thought, can be thought, is within your reach in the mass consciousness. So there's only one mind here, and yet I have a portion of that that I call my mind. All right. So let's just accept that that is also the illusion of singularity, of individuality. Because just as my body appears to be separate and individual, I also want to think I have an individual mind that I have control over, or maybe at least influence over. So, to teach the mind to be still, you need to choose what methodology you would like to use. It has been my goal to achieve stillness of mind at least once a day, hopefully a little more often than that throughout the day, moments of stillness of mind, because this renders inner peace. It creates a feeling of absolute peacefulness, total assurance that everything is infinite and eternal, and I am just existing within that. I am infinite and eternal. So these moments of stillness of mind allow us to feel more inner peace. That's my belief. It is my intention of practicing stillness to be more at peace with self, with whole self. Now, how do I achieve inner peace with self? Well, I start with breath. Breath has been the way I was taught to enter the state of meditation, and the state of meditation can lead to experiences of stillness. So I was teaching myself to achieve moments of stillness by utilizing my breath to calm my body. And when you calm your body down, the mind follows. So slow the body down, let it sit and rest, be at peace, and the mind follows. However, the opposite also works. If you still the mind and let it be at peace, the body follows and is at rest. I do not seek, nor do I believe in silence. A lot of people talk about in meditative states, they reach silence. And I find that very interesting. And perhaps it is because I have an auditory focus. My sense of hearing gets my attention more quickly than other senses. And yet, just like anyone else, I am a visual person. I like to see pictures. I am human enough. I like to touch things. I let me see it, and I act like I've got fingers with eyeballs. Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see. Yeah, we do that. You'll notice other humans do that too. I'm not alone. They'll ask to see something while they're putting their hand out, and it's like, okay, you got your eyeballs in your fingertips. Oh, I'm trying to be a bit humorous, but the point is that we all have predominant senses, senses that dominate in our particular mode of interpreting the world. And for me, sound has always been number one. So that's why I hear music in my head all the time. And I also listen with attention. And when I hear a stray, odd sound, sometimes my curiosity, well, most always, my curiosity is piqued about what's that sound? What's that sound? You can ask my girlfriend how many times when I'm in a foreign place like Australia and we're together and I hear something I'm not familiar with, I want to know what's that sound? And oh my goodness, there are some birds there that sing the most beautiful songs. Anyway, what I wanted to say about silence is that I find that a nearly impossible request to reach a state of silence. But my mind does reach total stillness, and in that there is much quiet. But I recognize that as a human dwelling on the planet, unless I'm using some kind of noise canceling headphones, I will hear sound all the time. There's the sound of the refrigerator humming. There's the sound of the ticking clock. There's the sound of neighbors, cars going by. There's the sound. There's always sound. There's sound everywhere. So I do not expect myself to achieve silence in meditation. I want my mind to reach stillness in meditation. And you will hold your mind in stillness as long as comfortably possible. And when you're first starting out with a practice like meditation or whatever, you will find that the mind is very active and difficult to stay focused. It wants to run around, wants to flow. It's fluid, it's moving, it's touching everything and everyone. It's touching all that is. So to get the mind to be fixed in a state of stillness is a habit you can achieve through practice. Ah, there we go. So, like I said, the first time you try to meditate, you may find that your mind just won't shut up. It just won't. But the more you practice getting into stillness, you will find gaps. Oh, there were gaps between the thoughts where I was totally quiet. I was totally still. The mind wasn't thinking anything. It was just there in this gap, very present and yet not thinking anything. So, having practiced this type of consciousness state, let's call it that, state of consciousness for a very long time, then it becomes very easy because it is a conditioned response, right? That there's a certain breath I can take, an expression I can think to myself that causes my brain waves to immediately settle from maybe high alpha. I rarely get into beta anymore, I think, and high alpha down to a lower peaceful alpha state. And then sometimes, of course, drifting into theta brainwave state in meditation. I do not go deeper than that because I think I will fall asleep. The purpose of meditation is not sleep. Purpose of meditation is to still the mind and experience total peace. Sometimes in meditation, when the mind has been perfectly still for a period, then there is a what I call a flood or a flush, I guess, because it's the mind is fluid of bliss, total bliss consciousness. Bliss consciousness is extraordinary. And it exceeds the experience of stillness for me in that it feels like I am in the presence of what I might call deity or God or the universe or something. I am in the presence of that which is always and eternal, which is eternal and forever. And I just, yeah, it's difficult to put bliss into words. Is beyond happiness. It is more like joy, but even more expansive than joy because it's so totally encompassing. It's so totally, I mean, I'm totally in rapture with bliss. And yet, I do not meditate with the intention of achieving bliss. That is not the intention of the meditation. The intention of stilling the mind, slowing the mind, putting the mind in a peaceful rest. For me, the goal is inner peace, total inner peace, being completely and totally at ease with whole self. They say, of course, that people who practice training their mind to meditate get a great deal of benefits, health benefits like lowering their blood pressure and so forth, and also emotional benefits, having better what they call emotional regulation, achieving some emotional intelligence. And that comes through practice of meditation. And yet, even though I consider myself to be often in a meditative state, emotionally, I can still get out of kilter. I can go off balance. I can get thrown off my peaceful path, shall we say, by having some event occur that stimulates in me a response of fear. Let's be honest. Let's just get right down to the very basics of human existence. You are either dwelling in love or fear. And we go from both sides. We go to both sides. We dwell in love, we give love, we receive love. Love becomes our motivation, love becomes our way of leading, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't do away with, it does not erase states of reaction. Reaction can still happen. Even in well practiced meditative monks, reaction can still happen. But if you live in an environment where you're just surrounded by other monks who are in a very peaceful, harmonious state, there's very little to cause reaction. So you can appear to be very peaceful and emotionally mature, etc., but get into a relationship with someone, get close to someone, and you will find that everyone has things that will trigger responses that happen faster than you can count. They're fast, so fast, nanoseconds, and you're in this reaction. And yet, those who are practiced in stilling the mind or being in stillness are able to realize, oh my God, I'm having a big reaction to this. Something triggered me, and I want to return to a state of balance. So, the point of meditation to help train the mind is very useful. Now, as I was saying, the mind is also creative. The mind helps create your reality. Your repeated thoughts become your intentions. Yes? Thoughts create intentions, and intentions create reality. So, learning to be the master observer of your thoughts is very useful. And this is something also that is easily achieved when you have a regular meditative practice. You can become the observer of your thoughts. In other words, you get more present with reality and the content of your thoughts, your content of your mind. Joshua often reminds us, tells me, be aware of the content of your thoughts. Be aware of the content of your thoughts. Your thoughts are actually coloring your entire existence of reality. So be aware of the content occurring in your mind. Be aware of the content of the mind because the thoughts you have also control, and here I am actually saying control the emotions you feel. Ah, emotions. The thoughts you have control the emotions you feel. Now, sometimes that is a trick to observe, takes a lot of conscious presence to observe that in the mass consciousness, a thought floated through my mind that caused me to suddenly feel sad or to feel hurt or to have feelings that did not originate from my own thoughts. Yes? Yeah, that's right, because we are connected to wholeness. The local mind is connected to the mass consciousness. The two cannot really be separated, so I don't know why I'm teasing them apart for today's discussion. There's one mass consciousness, and in your local influence of the one mass consciousness, sometimes thoughts come in that are not originated from self. They originated within the whole, and they can change how you feel. Now, I am aware that in the United States right now, there's a lot of feeling of agitation. There's a lot of people up in arms. They want to fight for their rights, or they want to fight the government, or they want to fight the liberals, or, it just goes on and on. It's this energy of if we can't persuade with wisdom, then we'll fight. The attempts to persuade you to follow our way is not working, so we want to fight. Now, some feel that their rights are being taken away, they're being infringed upon, so they also want to fight that. They want to fight for their rights. And the way I see it is that's very valid. It makes sense. You feel like something has been taken away from you that you're entitled to have. And therefore, that makes you want to fight. It's like, hey, don't take that. Don't take that from us, from me. So there's a lot of agitation in the thought energy, the feeling energy around the United States of America right now. And it's filtering. No, that's not the word. It's flowing out around the globe, this feeling. So right now you see a lot of people misbehaving, so to speak, however you judge their behavior. You see a lot of people acting out in fear. That's all I want to say. This idea about fighting is I'm afraid. I'm scared. And I am not scared and I'm not afraid. I am doing my very best just to observe. But I get angry. It makes me angry to see people mistreated. And I want to fight for them. And that comes from my connection with Joshua. He has told you that not only is he a teacher, he's also a warrior. And he fights to protect the innocent. So I also feel that my righteous indignation has to do with injustice, where I see people not being treated fairly. It makes me angry. So when I get angry, do I want to fight? Sometimes, you bet. So we're all human and we need to own our full spectrum of feelings, all of our emotions. And yet, I'd like to advise that you spend time quieting the mind at least once a day. Sit down and let your mind be still. Let it rest completely in peace and in confidence that all is well just as it is. This is all happening for some reason, and the reason will become more evident to us at a different time. Let me see. What else do I want to communicate to you about the mind? It is magnificently creative. It is powerful. The mind has power. The mind is the bridge. That's how Joshua put it in the seventh major understanding. If you look at us as solid, liquid, and gas, three states of being, as my body is solid, my body fluids are liquid, my mind is fluid. And then my ethereal self is like gas. Nobody wants to have gas, but sometimes Joshua equates our state of existence in those classifications, solid, liquid, and gas, so that we can better get a picture of what it is. So the mind, Joshua calls the bridge. The mind is not physical like the body, and yet it connects to the physical. The mind connects to the brain and its power. And the mind tells the brain what to work on, what to think about. But the brain is also a supercomputer running your body without you even being aware of it. It's keeping the blood flowing, it's keeping the air moving, it's keeping your five senses going, whatever. So the brain is a magnificent computer and the mind is able to connect to it, but mind is not brain. Joshua separates those two states because brain is physical. Brain is a part of the physical reality. Mind is not, and yet they're connected, strongly connected. So mind is the bridge, Joshua says, between that which is your physical existence and that which is your non physical existence. For you are totally non physical at all times, even though you have incarnated in this lifetime. A part of whole self, your whole self remains non physical at all times. So, between the non physical and the physical, there's this bridge called mind. So, that's the gift of mind, is that it connects us to our whole self, our spirit, our non physical existence. Without it, we would just have brain and body. And brain might be able to conceive of ideas about non physical existence, whereas mind dwells there. Okay, that's all I have to say today about mind and its place in the one understanding of our whole self. And now, to the best of my ability, I will bring through Joshua to speak to you. Hello, beloved one. It is my honor and my joy to be speaking to you once again. You see, I know who you are. You are the gods and goddesses on this planet, bringing forth the golden age, an era of time on earth that is peaceful, loving, and filled with an abundance of everything for everyone. Jordan today was speaking about the energy essence of mind existing as the bridge between your body and your spirit or your soul. And mind will take you many places. Your mind is very powerful. And I want to urge you to use your mind in very constructive ways rather than applying it to fighting or destruction. Look for ways to build harmonious fields of consciousness. Look for the harmonious fields of consciousness in which to plant the seeds of your tomorrows. You can attract and bring to you whatever you wish through the energy of your consciousness, as you are a co creator on earth of all that is. I have said repeatedly, and so have many spiritual masters, you create your own reality without doubt. The mind is your perception of what is happening in reality. Your mind has been trained to behave in certain ways, and you can teach it new habits. You can change your mind. There you go. I give you full and complete permission to change your mind. And any areas of life in which you have your mind made up, I encourage you to visit those thoughts, those ideas, and really examine if they serve you now with the wisdom you have, with the achievements you've made, and with the mission you are on, your calling. Why are you here? What is your purpose? It is my belief that if you are listening to my voice, you are one of the teachers, healers, and leaders here to make the global transition become reality. You are the way shower. You are the planters of the seeds for the harvest of tomorrow. So carry on with your mind, creating an idyllic experience of life on earth. And you will incarnate in that time to reap the benefits of your labor. For now is the laborious time. Now is the transition. Things are bumpy. There is a reaction in fear that wants to hold on to the old ways, wants to cling to how we've always been. In other words, we like warring over our territory and we like hoarding our resources for ourselves and all of these ideas that will melt away. You may even continue to keep some forms of boundaries around your country, and yet they will be open borders. All nations working in cooperation with one another, allowing the populace to move around freely from one nation to another without all of this need to secure paperwork and have a visual passport of your whole self. A visual passport of whole self. That does amuse me. I am amused by that stray thought that occurred. I was thinking of the physical passport Jordan carries when he travels, and I realized you must show this to the border security in nations he enters. And I was thinking, there is a time in Earth history, for me, it is Earth history, where you wandered from one land to another without the need to prove who you are to anyone. Because you see, the time of fear is no longer prevalent on the stage. You do not fear each other, therefore, you do not have to build borders to keep some out, let some in. You see, that all becomes a thing of your past. From that place, those coordinates in time and space. So I do not mean to confuse you. There is a time on earth where the golden age of humankind is manifest. And from this point, this coordination point where Jordan dwells, it is in the future. For me, it is in Earth history already. So that is all I will share with you for today. I want you to know that I love you deeply and I am here for you always. Call my name and I will answer you. That is my promise. Because if you are hearing my voice now, you are definitely a member of my family, and I will answer you. I promise. I appreciate your patience in listening to our recording. Thank you so very much for being you, for following your purpose, for planting the seeds you came here to plant in this glorious time of transition. May you be blessed in all ways and always. I love you and I bid you good day. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.